Hello, I'm Dana Beard. I'm going to share with you today a capstone project that I've been working on for Aspen University, a project that has been very, very dear to my heart for the last 3 years. 3 years ago, I worked as a biology teacher at a local charter school in Little Rock. I immediately noticed that there was a grave disparity that was going on in my own classroom, one that I could not address alone. In one class, I had several special needs students who needed a lot of individualized attention. In a classroom of 30 students, I could not give them the attention that they deserved, nor could I give them the instruction they deserved because I was not properly trained in educating children with special needs. Due to this concern, and all through the school year, I watched as I myself failed to educate these children properly and to provide them with equitable learning experiences. At the end of the school year, I started asking a lot of questions and talking to a lot of people, namely administration, because I really wanted to understand the definition of inclusive practice and what that meant for special needs students in a generalized classroom. Now, initially, my questions were not taken well by both administration and by SPED services. Administration admitted that they did not hold SPED services accountable for making sure that they were in the classroom and co-teaching on a daily basis. Also, SPED services, when questioned about this, because this is, by the way, state mandated guidelines for special needs services that they need to be in a classroom every day with general education teachers. We're very upset, to say the least. They believe that they do not have the specialized training to be able to co-teach in a classroom with highly qualified general education teachers. And in doing that, they felt like that their only job was to provide the modifications for the general ed teachers so that they could do whatever they had to do to educate these children. Obviously, I have a problem with this, as that many general education teachers do not have the special education training to be able to teach these children. And many of these teachers that teach general education are also very seasoned and used to teaching by old traditional methods, which do not work with the special needs population. So I began my mission because I knew that I had a capstone that I had to complete, and I knew that the best way to handle this disparity was to face it head on, but also to come up with some type of plan and to put into place to train these teachers, both general ed and SPED teachers, and how to collaborate with one another and how to co-teach. But before I could do that, I had to clear up and agree with administration on how to make everyone responsible and accountable for assuring that these children have equitable learning experiences. The problems I tackled are simply the ones I have stated before. SPED teachers are not highly qualified to teach in specific subject areas. General education teachers are used to tackling this problem by themselves, many times very frustrated, to try to get through the school year with minimal skills to train these to teach these children. And in the beginning, the research that I did included going to the State Department of Education. I had to find out from them exactly what the definition of inclusive practice was, and in doing so discovered that part of that mandatory instruction includes co-teaching on a daily basis. So accountability had to be ensured, and administration was the first place to start. So the first thing I had to do was I had to work with administration to change policy to reflect mandatory inclusive practice every day in the general education classroom. The second thing that I did to research was I talked to special education services at my local high school to see how they did things there. And much to my delight, I found a mentor in Amy Nobles. Amy has become a good friend. She is one that has helped me with differentiated instruction, how to utilize it in the classroom on a daily basis. And she gave me a plethora of information to share with the charter school that I used to teach at. In doing so, I realized very quickly that I had to come up with a plan. And the first plan was going to have to include some type of specific training for everyone involved. Everyone, by saying everyone, I'm talking about anyone that has to do with teaching general education subject matter that is tested at the end of the year. Because obviously these special needs learners are going to be tested. So we need to make sure that they have an equitable learning experience in the classroom with the other students. So I had to come up with a training plan. Professional development is the best way, the absolute best way to educate staff. But in doing that, you don't just go through and give them a few PowerPoint instructional seminar type things. What you have to do is you have to get them involved. They have to be involved. They have to work together. They have to learn to collaborate. They have to practice the things that you teach them in the seminar. And you have to make this mandatory, because most people, me, myself included, would sit and listen to a seminar, and they would fill out some paperwork and do an evaluation, and they would turn it in, and at the end of the day you would end up with people that really still don't know how to utilize these practices. So it's very important that that within the seminar there was a lot of activities. There was activities that included demonstrations by me and another special ed instructor. Activities that included the teachers getting involved, working with one another, and practicing differentiated instruction. So that's what we did. The second plan was going to be to devise some type of a pilot plan that we could use as an example. In the summertime was the best time, because we could shorten it. I could co-teach in a classroom with an English teacher, which is what I did, and we would be able to demonstrate the positive effects of differentiated learning in a classroom. Within that classroom this summer, I got the great opportunity to work with an incredible teacher, and even though I'm not an English teacher, we collaborated, we shared experiences, we shared materials, we shared ideas, and we came up with a great summer program that the students enjoyed. At the end, the analysis demonstrated that greater than 90% of our students enjoyed summer school, in spite of the fact that it happened in the summer, the time that they're supposed to be off. The teacher that I taught with was very excited and very positive and energized with the start of the school year and using these new practices and having a co-teacher in the room with her. Administration has now made it mandatory that SPED services be very participatory in collaborating with general ed teachers and acting in the classroom as a co-teacher, which is very inspiring to me. And at the end of the day, what did I learn from this? Through all of this experience in putting together a professional development program and then piloting a teaching program for the summer, I learned that whenever you discover some type of disparity, something that is resulting in an inequitable learning experience for children, it doesn't matter what children, stand up and start asking questions and show your concerns, but be prepared in the end to offer some type of solution. And the solution is always going to begin with training. It's always going to begin with training. Perhaps even maybe before that training, you need to make sure that administration understands what you want to do, what the problem is, identify your problem, and then devise some sort of a plan with which to tackle it. Be advised that that plan may not always work out. It may need to be tweaked, but it can be done. Collaborate with other people. Collaborate with the SPED services. Collaborate with administration. Come up with a plan that will work. And if it doesn't work, keep tweaking it until it does. Perhaps the biggest thing I learned from this whole experience is persistence. If I had just recommended, if I had just identified a problem and then recommended a solution, it would not have transpired. You have to recommend a solution. You have to volunteer your time to come in and help teach it and help people to understand why it's needed. This has been an incredible learning experience for me. An experience that has given me, has shown me about persistence, but it's also shown me that if you work really hard to make a difference, no matter what it is that you're trying to solve, no matter what problem you're trying to solve, you can make a difference. People will listen if you persist. In all of this, I'm very proud to announce that the pilot program will begin for the fall. New policies are in place so that SPED services will be participating with the general ed teachers in collaborative learning activities, and they will be co-teaching every single day in every classroom where a state mandated subject will be tested. So persistence paid off, and I'm very, very grateful for this learning experience. Thank you.